Welcome back to another episode of Shout Esports. I'm Jess BROHARD, and today we're going to talk about social media, specifically Twitter. Some of this is general advice that will apply to other social media platforms too, but most of it is Twitter specific. And the reason for that is that I feel like Twitter is the one non-optional platform for those who work in esports. It's almost used as a business card, resume, and elevator pitch all in one, besides being a useful networking tool with tons of growth potential. So let's start by talking about your Twitter bio. You've only got a certain amount of characters, so make them count. Tell people what you're about, what you do, and why they should care. And be sure to use a high-quality photo for your profile pic. I recommend against using terms like small streamer or aspiring caster to describe yourself. The size of your audience doesn't dictate the quality of your content, and if you commentate games, you're a caster, regardless of if you get paid for it or not. As for content philosophy, one way that I look at Twitter is that the things that you post aren't really for you, they're for your followers. Now, until you build up a community who supports and cares about you, you're not going to see a ton of engagement and new followers from tweets that are just about you and what you did that day. Instead, think about trying to entertain your audience by posting a variety of different types of content, and be sure not to treat your feed like a going live notification. When someone goes to your profile, they shouldn't see just a wall of Twitch links. One type of content you should post is stream highlights or clips from shows that you host or cast. Well, let's talk about Twitter's algorithm when it comes to external links. Twitter wants you to stay on their site as long as possible, so tweets with links to other websites like Twitch or YouTube aren't served up in as many of your followers' home feeds. Instead, to get more eyes on your content, I highly recommend uploading these highlights directly to Twitter as a native video rather than as a link. However, you do have a cutoff of just over 2 minutes, so what I like to do is edit 2 versions of every video that I post. I upload the full version to YouTube, stick that link in my Twitter bio, and then I tweet the shorter version, which also includes a verbal call out to click the link in my bio to watch the full video. If you really want to elevate this content, it's also a good practice to add captions on your videos. Twitter autoplays videos in your feed, but they're also muted by default, so you have to pause the video, unmute, scroll back to the beginning, which is pretty annoying, and a lot of people, myself included, often just scroll past videos since it's easier. But if I see a video with subtitles that say something funny, that grabs my attention and I'm more likely to watch the full video. In addition, people can watch your video on mute if they're out in public and don't want to turn the volume up. Outside of video content, keep thinking in the mindset of getting people to engage with your tweets. There's a ton you can do, like starting a conversation about something you've observed, posting a selfie, or asking questions. But I found that content that performs best often strikes a good balance between being funny, relatable, and controversial. If someone thinks your tweet is funny or relatable, they might share it. If you post something they think is wrong and stupid, they might quote tweet it or at least comment on it, and the end result is the same: more impressions and engagements. For instance, I recently tweeted about how Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is a perfect movie. Now, I don't really think this. It's a fantastic movie, but nothing's perfect. But I also know there are some strong opinions out there, so I baited my followers just a little. And just as I suspected, I did get a lot of folks retweeting it and a lot of others quote tweeting to tell me I was wrong. Another way to get more eyes on your tweets is to engage with people who are relevant and influential in a scene you're interested in. If you reply to a tweet from someone who has 100,000 followers, more people are going to see that reply than if you're interacting with an account that has 100 followers. Not to mention, if the person you're replying to interacts with your tweet, the Twitter algorithm might serve that tweet up in the feed of everyone who follows them. And over time, if people keep seeing your content show up in their timeline because those other relevant folks are interacting with it, you've just become relevant as well. Other than all that, let's talk about the overall message your content sends, as well as some things to avoid, such as being needlessly negative, especially about a specific game or company that you could potentially want to work with someday. The influencer managers at these companies do their due diligence in cyberstalking potential people that they want to sponsor. They literally keep lists of creators and influencers who are deemed brand safe versus those who are not. And if you tweet out something like, "Hey game publisher, fix your stupid game, it's literally unplayable," which list do you think you're going to end up on? To that point, it should go without saying that you probably shouldn't harass or bully other people if you're trying to make a name for yourself in esports. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone saying something truly vile to someone else, only to check out their profile and see a Twitch link and find out that they're a streamer or a caster. And even outside of a brand friendliness perspective, your followers probably don't want to see constant negativity and complaints. You know that old saying, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar? Well, that just about does it for the social media lesson, but if you want to catch me on social media, I'm at Jess BROHARD on Twitter and Instagram. And other than that, I'll catch you folks next time here on Shout Esports for some esports news.